Hi everyone, welcome to the Debrief. Today we have Caroline Lepron, French-Australian serial entrepreneur, currently building Skoutli, managing the Western Sydney Startup Hub, and leading the +8 Western Sydney Accelerator. Caroline, welcome.
Thank you.
Let's start with that decision 11 years ago. You came for an internship, and that was supposed to be temporary. What happened?
So I should have probably updated my file. It was 17 years ago.
Oh wow.
Yes. I came for now I'm old. Yeah. I came for a 6-month internship, and when I arrived, I always wanted to live in San Diego before. I lived for a few months in San Diego, and I was thinking I will live all my life over there. And finally, when I came to Sydney, I was like, oh, it's like San Diego, but even better. So I spent 6 months here, and then I was like, how can I stay? And I started with like a working holiday visa, as like many foreigners do. And then I continued for another 6 months to travel the country. And then instead of doing my master back in France, I decided to just stay here. And I did my master here, and everything started then.
Amazing.
Were you working in France at all before you left, Caroline?
No, before that I was living in Mexico. So I lived in Mexico for 18 months. I did a double degree with Mexico, random. And before that I was a student in France. So I never worked in France in my life.
Interesting. So my question was going to be, what is some of the differences and similarities with French and Australian business culture, but maybe we'll say San Diego, Mexico, and Australian business culture.
Yeah, San Diego couldn't tell much. I was more like doing like a kind of like a summer internship where I was helping in admin, so I don't think I could just pretend that I knew much. But I went back during my startup journey. I went back to San Francisco for 3 months. When I was trying to move my previous business to the US, because hey, everyone has like the American dream where everything's supposed to be easier. It's not, but at least not for me. But I think the main difference for me, just for San Francisco and here, was how quickly people respond to you and how quickly you get introduced and how quickly business goes. I really enjoyed that, but also like how things are also difficult. Like for example, for my previous business, I needed like an insurance that here would cost me a few $1,000, or they were asking me like $25,000.
Oh wow!
So, like things like some things were much easier, some things were much more difficult.
Right, interesting.
In Mexico, I only worked in like bars and things like this, so I cannot really say like I know much about that. I studied and partied over there.
Yeah, cool.
So we've got that you were a kite surf instructor at one point.
I did. Why not?
Embracing risk. What scares you more, being a serial entrepreneur or a kite surfer?
Oh, that's a good question. I'm not sure. I think both are risky.
So I guess, do you feel like you're a bit of a risk taker? Does that come naturally?
Yes, it's funny because recently I was diagnosed for ADHD, and for the ADHD test they asked me to like ask questions to like my mom, and my mom was saying like, yeah, Caroline at 2-year-old was on tricycle, and my brother was like, like onto like these big like kind of like not jumps, but hills.
A slide? All right.
Like hills and everything, and I arrived with my tricycle, and I was like, I want to do that, and I was like, no way. My brother was like 5 years old, and I was like, he can do it, I can. So I think it started very early.
It's in your DNA.
It's what I realized.
Yeah, nice. Let's jump into, I guess, starting to talk about your ventures, because there's more than one.
Yes.
And I think that's the thing that's intriguing for us about you, that you wear so many hats. That definitely resonates, I guess, with what we're doing or trying to do.
Yeah.
So you actually have had 3 ventures, is that right?
If you don't count like all the other things that I tested and
right.
before even launching,
Yeah.
If we don't count the kite surfing and all that sort of thing as well.
I tested also a lot of ideas, but it didn't work out.
So of those 3 ventures, we've got FreshPlate, Cookertoo and now Skoutli.
Correct.
They're all marketplaces. So I guess there's clearly an interest in marketplaces.
Yes.
Why? What's the attraction to marketplaces?
Yeah, now that I feel like I'm older, I had to think about that because I was like, why did I spend the last 10 years doing marketplaces? And what has been clear is like, I'm passionate about connecting people and making a win-win. So I never thought about like, I really want to create a marketplace. I thought about like, how can we make things that can have an impact and on both sides. And marketplaces are so hard, but I wish I don't like marketplaces. But never really thought about just going into, I never thought about I will just want to be an entrepreneur. It's not even a thing. Like for me, like I didn't know entrepreneurs, I didn't know it was a thing. I didn't know all this thing. I just more about, I was always in jobs and I was like, we can do things better, we can do things faster. Why are we not changing? And people are like, just do your job. So after like trying like public, private, everything type of company, I was like, maybe I just start my own and then it will be easier. That's a joke. Like it's definitely not easier. You think you have no boss, but finally your investors are your boss.
Right.
Your customer are your boss. So finally you still have lots of bosses.
Yeah.
For sure.
So it was only incidental that they ended up being marketplaces. It wasn't like something that you were especially going for or attracted to or anything like that.
No.
Interesting.
One of the original ideas, I wanted to connect. I could see in my connection that many people had kids and they were struggling with like lunch boxes and they didn't have many canteen here. Like in France, every school has a very basic canteen, like a good canteen,
right?
And everyone sit down for an hour for lunch, like very highly subsidized by the government. So most of the people will eat at the canteen from like when they're tiny. So for me, it's just normal to have like kind of like a healthy meal every day. You sit down, and that's just normal.
Yeah.
And when I realized here it was not normal, one of my first ideas was like, I started to do more research because I was really surprised like on the obesity rate. So that's how everything started. I was like, how can we make sure that like we can reduce the rate of obesity? And I was like, if you want to reduce the rate, you can start with kids. So I look at like how can you teach kids and try to do like programs, and so that was program organized. But yeah, it was the school that to pay, and then I realized that like most of the schools that implemented these programs is usually the schools that usually have more budget, where they usually less rate of obesity, so it just doesn't make much sense.
Right.
So then I was looking at, I wanted to create a marketplace before all this marketplace, and I wanted to connect people that wanted to, many families, they have one or the other usually. They usually have time but not much money, or they usually have money but not much time. And I was thinking, what about if like the parents that have extra time, instead of doing one lunchbox, they could do 10 or 20. And the parents that don't have time, they will be happy to pay for like a healthy lunchbox from like another parent that can just do according to their kids. And
interesting. Yeah, that's cool.
And they could deliver to the school. So that's like one of the ideas that started like that. And then I started to do some research, and I couldn't find, if you wanted to cook and sell for kids, you need to cook from a commercial kitchen space. And if you wanted to cook from a commercial kitchen space, I couldn't find enough flexible commercial kitchen space. So then I stopped it, and I joined someone else on FreshPlate, but they started another business, and then they didn't want to continue this one. So then I randomly met someone that was doing a marketplace of commercial kitchen, and I knew that like the idea that I had couldn't go because of commercial kitchen space. So I ended up building a marketplace of commercial kitchen, not because I wanted to do commercial kitchen, but more because I understood the issue, and my co-founder at the time was like, had a great vision and great ideas, and he really convinced me to do it with him.
So it sounds like there was a drive behind the reason why. What marketplace do you wish existed now?
Ooh. I think if I had a new idea, I would probably have built it. But I tried to build another idea about like connecting people that have skills with non-for-profit but didn't have the skills.
Yeah.
And I was thinking to use that as like a tax rebate, and they gave the time for free, and then they could get a tax rebate for their income. I still think that like it's not there yet, and I still feel like there's so many non-for-profit around the world that could use talents. And I feel like everyone, or at least most of the people I know, will be very happy to use their skills to have an impact on non-for-profit. Financially, it's not really viable, so I've never been able to go anywhere. And I know that like many people tried some similar things, but it didn't go anywhere. But I really feel like there's so many good businesses around the world that we just need some great people.
Need a push.
Very values driven. It's really nice to see. So you're building a startup, and you've got a 2-year-old at home. 2 years old?
Oh, so now I have 2.
Now you've got 2.
I have an 8-year-old and almost a 3-year-old.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So you've got your hands full.
I did.
think in a few ways. What does your daily schedule look like? You've got kids, you're running the Western Sydney Startup Hub and an accelerator.
Yes.
Yeah. What does the day in the life look like?
I learned when my second arrived that I couldn't do everything. I learned that the hard way when my son got very sick and I had to go back to the hospital. And it was at a time where my business was not going very well. My co-founder decided to leave and get a full-time job. Then I ended up like, the business was not going well, so we had a team of like almost 10 people, and we had to like almost let go everyone in the last 6 months before I gave birth. So it was the impact of COVID, like we raised during COVID about sharing location. So sharing location during COVID is not the best thing that you can do, but you always think like, hey, this thing will stop. COVID will not last. Unfortunately, COVID lasted for way longer than we expected. And then when I came back home, I was like, okay, no, I'm almost by myself with a business with like a few of my contractors, and I was like, how do I deal with everything? And for me, what was life-saving was to get support. So someone contacted me from like 15 years ago. Someone was doing an internship with me when I arrived in Australia, and she said, hey, my cousin is coming to Australia. She would love to do like some type of like help or something. And she's like, can she be your au pair for 3 months? I was like, oh, I lived in a very small house. I was like, I don't know if that will work, but we decided to test that. And we tested that, and it was like life-changing for me. So I could really get some support with the kids, get some support with like lunch boxes, pick up, drop off. And since then, I probably had a au pair since, and that's really life-changing, because I think sometimes we just think like, oh, I should be doing everything, but you can't. If you want to do more, and if you want to have a bigger impact, you have to learn of like what you should be doing and what everyone can do for you. So,
for sure. I completely agree with that.
And I think just on that, I'm curious to know let's get into the nitty gritty. What does your daily schedule look like with all of this in mind? You know?
I haven't responded to that. Yeah, also my husband is also an entrepreneur, so that doesn't really help. So for the last few years, I've been always like a nice roller coaster. Before I used to have an office job, but now we both have like startups. So that's why also I came to run this place, because Skoutli was not going great at some point. And so I would need like someone to be a bit more stable. So that's why I came to run the Western Sydney Startup Hub. And so now what I try to do in my good time is I usually try to exercise in the morning. I love swimming, even more ocean swimming. So I try to go ocean swimming hopefully in the morning. Then I come back, try to do breakfast with the kids. If it's my turn or not, I do drop off. If it's not my turn, I go to work. And then depending on my day, so I work 3 days a week here. I have 1 day off that I spend with my kids, and 1 day I work from home, so I can be more involved with everything. But and I usually go home, and depending on the day and time, depending if I'm running the accelerator or not, then I can do dinner with kids and put them to bed, or or when my husband is doing it, or when the au pair is doing it.
Yeah.
So depending of like.
Yeah.
And any late nights? Like, are you working into the night, or
I
do you
used
try to avoid that?
I used to a lot, even more when I was running my own business.
Yeah.
I'm much better with that. Oh, and something that I need to add, I also do a nap every day.
Oh, right, wow.
Nice.
Yeah.
Fit in a nap?
Yeah.
Afternoon?
Around midday, I usually have my lunch and go for a 15-minute nap. So I think for me, it's like, I've been doing that now for a while, and it's been life-changing.
Yeah.
And I really recommend it because I'm like a new person after my nap. So.
Yeah.
I'm terrible at napping. Yeah. What are your
It's
tips
a
and
skill.
tricks? Yeah.
It's a skill. It's like for me, I started with a nap that was telling me like how long I could sleep, and they will wake me up according to like how deep I will go in my sleep. So I started that when I was like fish burner days, when I need to like be focused and I didn't have much time, because also when you get kids, when your time, like when I had my first one and I didn't have an au pair, you need to be very efficient for the time you have. And so for me, I realized that having a 15-minute to 20-minute nap is usually like life-changing, because after I'm much more productive in the afternoon.
Yeah.
I usually put meditation on. I put a head, how do you call it? Like
eye mask?
Eye mask,
Yeah.
lay down, and I usually can sleep between like 8 minutes to like 19 minutes, usually my thing.
Oh, that would be the dream.
Yeah, that's impressive.
Yeah. My family is from Greece, and it's common practice.
Yeah.
Like my family still nap during the day. I wish I could do the same thing. Yeah.
Maybe you can practice and tell me how you go.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to.
And tell me how your afternoon are. You'll see.
Yeah. You know, I always nap too long. You know, like, and so you
like
wake up feeling
beginning.
groggy, and
it's just because you're not choosing the
worse for
right
wear.
thing.
Right.
Just use there's a nap app where it's waking up. If you start to go in deep sleep, they can track it and they wake you up before you go.
Okay.
So then after your body is used to know exactly. And for me, I don't put any alarm on the morning or a nap, like my body will wake up. I put like an alarm in case if by any chance I fall asleep too long, but I will always wake up by myself when my body feels like it's time. And sometimes like I want to swim, and I'm like, oh, if I wake up, I will swim. And I wake up and I'm like, okay.
Do a deal with yourself.
Yeah, I'm like, no choice now.
So, Skoutli.
Yes.
When was the exact moment you realised creators needed the Airbnb for locations?
It was more like when I was working on the previous one, people were contacting us when we used to do commercial kitchen space marketplace. Some people contacted us for like shoots, and I was like, why do you want to use kitchen for shoots? Because I'm not a producer. I had no idea what like, and people were like, oh, we're always looking for location. I was like, location? But I was like, yeah.
You mean like TVs or movies or things like that?
Or like MasterChef or like reality TV.
And that just sort of organically popped up. Like, you didn't know that was a need. People just started contacting you for that purpose.
No,
yeah,
and
that's interesting.
As I started to, when we closed Cookertoo because it was not growing enough, I started asking people around me, like, that had like small brands, like, what do you use? And they say like how inconvenient for them was to find location for a shoot. It was like, for example, if you think about Airbnb, they usually check in at 3 and check out like at 10. Yeah. So if you want to do a full day of shoot, you cannot do it, or you have to book for 2 days. And many people don't want to shoot at their place. Some people told me that they had to rent a hotel room for like shooting on like nice bed and nice bathroom, and I was like, wow, like why? Like you will need to rent out a full hotel room, or you just need maybe a few hours inside of a nice bedroom or nice. So I thought like, hey, I know how to put a marketplace together now quite quickly. So I was like, what about if I just test it, put at the beginning I just put some fake listing on it. I was like, I just put lots of fake listing on it, see if anyone wants it. And I put like on lots of Facebook group, like, now we have a marketplace, like it's amazing and everything. And the first inquiry we got was like, someone was doing a shoot for Nutella. And I was like, I was planning to do like small content creator. When she asked for Nutella, I was like, what? I was like, oh, and she asked, my technique was like, someone was interested about house, I was like, oh, sorry, this one is not available. Then I will go and look everywhere for a place that's available, and then I will change fake listing for real listing. So then as we went forward, we moved every fake listing to real listing, and now we only have real listings. But that's how, like, some people say, like, chicken and the egg problem. You just need to solve it in a way. So we solved it that way.
So would you recommend people fake it till they make it?
I think depending on what you do. If you do a platform of like lawyers, maybe not. But it's much easier.
What about a platform for workplace relations? That's what I did.
Yeah. I was like, it seems like I know this. I think it really depends of like. It's much easier to convince a business to join your platform when you have customers.
Yeah.
So as soon as I say like, hey, I have $1,200 for your house, would you like to rent it out? Yeah. If I say like, hey, would you like to come onto a platform where no one comes and it's brand new and you may have some issue? And no, but if I directly tell them like, we have a brand, you know the brand, and they want to shoot, and would you be interested? It's so much easier.
Just on that, I mean, you've sort of explored this a little bit, but I'm curious about, what have been some of the biggest surprises, in running Skoutli? Coming Airbnb for locations, you mentioned, I guess, commercial contracts coming through as opposed to individuals or whatever. Were there any other big shocks that came your way?
Yeah, we had everything. We had someone booked a location for a proposal. Like a wedding proposal.
Okay.
We had some people coming for like big MasterChef booking for like where I wanted to book for a week the location. I was thinking, do you only do daily? You want to book more than a day? I was like, okay, like every time you get this request and then you're like, how do I take care of it? Some people will be like, I want to rent out a boat. Oh. Yeah, boat. Yeah, no issue. Like, I will find a boat. Do you have boats? Oh, yeah. Let me see what I have.
like you got a whole,
catalog.
Yeah, inventory of boats on hand. So, just on that point, is that something that you actually enjoy, like this problem-solving element?
Yeah, for me, that's what I'm very good at. You give me an issue, I find the solution very quickly. But if you give me like Excel spreadsheet and all the operation of like how to grow a business, that's always been my issue of like why I think my business didn't grow as much as I wanted, because I think you need like other people that are much more structured and like I can sell and I can promise a lot, but then I need people to deliver that, and then it's like the hard part.
Yeah, sales and delivery. I think in the early days, it's always a struggle, I think. Yeah. So you closed pre-seed funding 11 months after launch?
Some of it, yes.
Take us inside the process. Like, how did that work for you?
To be honest, I'm not sure. Like, I did raise quite a few small rounds.
Okay.
So I don't know which one was which, but I think early stage I was like, hey, I've just been very active on LinkedIn, and it's been a great thing for me because many of my investors just came and reached out to me on LinkedIn. When I tried to reach out to people that I didn't know and they didn't know about me, was way more difficult. As like when people like continue seeing my updates, because I will share about the good, the bad, the ugly. I will be very honest, even though like some people were telling me, why are you sharing all that? I was like, I think people like to learn about things. So I was sharing a lot of updates, and I did a triple F, Friends, Family and Fools.
Okay.
I did a few rounds of that where you get as many people as you can to give you as much money as they can. But and then we I'm not sure exactly the order, but I think we did that. Then I think we did Antler.
Okay.
And the good thing, Antler, you have to pitch to them, and then you go to a panel, and then they give you money. And then after that, I was applying before, after I was applying for like the female founder grant,
Mm-hmm.
and where you have to do match funding.
Okay.
So, and I think I did 2 rounds of that. Once I went to like the second stage, but they didn't give it to me. And the second one, I was not great at the first one, but no, I have all my numbers and everything. I'm sure I'm going to get the second one. So I needed to like find the funding to match the grants.
Yeah.
And so I contacted everyone, and I managed to raise a round to match the funding, but I didn't get the funding from the grant. So I got funding from investors,
Yeah.
but I didn't get the grant again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was it was very not an impressive grant where they really they sent us a yes, you got it. Like it was very badly managed.
Mm.
So,
Okay.
but,
Just on that point, actually, I'm curious to know the challenges around being a female founder, and just to get your view on that.
Yeah, I definitely think it's hard as a female founder, because when you don't look like people, even more when you don't sound like people, you don't look like people, it's usually usually happy to help someone that really looks like you.
Right,
And,
interesting.
you have much more chance of getting funding from someone that looks like you.
Mm.
But if you think about someone from me will look like me or sound like me, there's not that many in Australia that will write you checks. And even if I say that they will, they usually don't. They like to put that onto their marketing material.
Right.
But then
Yeah.
when you really look at
Yeah.
numbers,
Mm.
it's hard, but also I will say that sometimes the good and bad thing about it is then it makes one more resilient, and maybe if you cannot raise more, then you have to be smarter in how you spend your money. So I've seen so many male entrepreneurs that just raise a lot of money and fail very quickly.
Yeah.
It's a shame, because I feel oh my god, that could have gone to a female founder that could have done something.
Yeah.
And also, I don't know if you saw the statistic, but usually if it's a woman that raises, the return on investment is much higher.
Yeah, right.
But it still doesn't change the mentality of we should
Yeah.
give more to. So for me, when I was raising, I was really trying to get more women investors, and I was very happy that I got some women investors on my cap table. Because,
Yeah, great.
It's a challenge.
Yeah.
But I think it's getting better and better. But I still think that it's not sorted. The stats are still very, very bad. It's women founders raise 2% of capital.
Oh wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I think you captured it quite well with what you mentioned, the chicken and the egg problem with marketplaces. What's probably the one thing that nobody really warned you about that you wish you would have known?
Being better with my numbers. I think I will have listened a bit more to the
Your maths teacher?
No, even more when I did a few accelerator.
Yeah.
But I think none of them really sat down with me and explained me things better, how to set up your zero properly, or marketplaces are hard to and also for me I find they ask me to do, for example, financial modeling, and I send it to some people, and no one will agree on what it should be, and no one will tell you what you should be doing. You will ask about marketplace. How do you do with commission? Do you charge GST on the commission or on the full transaction, or this or that? And I think it's very hard here because there is not very many marketplaces that are successful here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I find in the US, there's so many, but people are able to get really great mentors, and I think I wish I would have done that earlier. I think Australia has lots of people that mentor, but they have no idea what they're doing. And when you're early stage founder, you have no idea who's good or who's bad. And I think that's been my biggest issue at the early stages, listening to everyone, thinking that they knew more than me, but sometimes they don't.
So just identifying trustworthy or authoritative information sources.
Yeah, and also finding the groups where, for example, like there's a marketplace group where it's all about marketplace. I think it's called, even the name, all about marketplace or something like this. And it's on marketplace all around the world. And they interview all the successful founders, and there's like so many people, like, and there's like a big chat about so many things. And unfortunately that was started like only maybe a few years ago, when I felt like, no, I learned many of these lessons already, but I wish I would have spent more time on things like that, where I could have like maybe not spent years of like trying to figure it out.
Just a question around the point that you made, that marketplaces don't really work here, or it's hard to make them work here. Why do you think that is? Any insight as to why Australia itself is so challenging?
The size of a market.
Right.
Like market size is not great. So that's why for my previous business I was like, okay, if market size is small, then I'm going to the US. I was like, it would be easy there. Yeah, then after you realize in the US, there's like tax regulation for every state, and there's like all this thing that you like, oh, I was thinking it was easy here. Like when you realize it's not that easy, like the regulation can be quite different or changing a lot. So, size of the market, appetite of people doing things, and now I think it's much easier. Like I think like marketplace now are kind of known. Like, but when I was starting Cookertoo, I think Uber was just launching here, so it was like early days of Uber, and people were like, oh, like, you know, we're like still. When I was starting my business, I was an Uber driver as well, so I was like, and taxi will get very upset and like frighten you in the street and things like this, and that's like I think like it's evolving, and I think it's getting better, and now I can see that like it's interesting. Now we don't need to do any marketing for Skoutli, and we have people joining the platform without us doing anything.
Amazing.
So it's interesting to see that like now also like when the interest rate last year was like increasing a lot, you could see like people like, okay, what can I do with my house? It was like a few years ago people were like, oh no, it's fine, I don't. But then when it changed, you can see that people
people start to seek out ideas and ways to make money.
So you mentioned Cookertoo took you to San Francisco.
Yes.
What is Skoutli's global play?
I'm in the process of selling it at the moment. I feel like I'm very good at like starting a business and doing the early scaling, and now I feel like the platform is running by itself almost. I have few VAs, but now I feel like it's I'm speaking to a few players that can take it to the next level, and then I wish them good luck for the international play. So we will see about that, but it will not be mine. I'm planning to, in a few years, start another business, but I don't think it will be in tech.
Interesting.
Nice.
And I just have one question around that as well. To aspiring founders and entrepreneurs out there, when they're starting a new initiative, do you recommend starting locally or thinking about the global market as well?
It's a tricky one, and I think it's been proved that both can work.
Right.
I think depending on the business that you're building, but I would say that like even more for marketplaces, if you do it well in one place and making it very restricted to a very, very small area. Sometimes it can be just a suburb, or sometimes it can be just a city. Make it work very well and then replicate. Sometimes people are just trying to do everything for everyone, and that doesn't work.
Any startup, I guess, operating, maybe not even in the marketplace space or even in Australia, but any startup that you sort of can point at that says that they did that well? Anyone come to mind?
I think Airtasker was just focused on like one thing. Thinking about like Australian marketplace. I think their task was like
Mm-hmm.
just focusing on like some tasks, I think just in Sydney,
Mm.
and then after they did more tasks, and then after they did more city, and then after they did more country.
Mm.
Same as Camplify, the marketplace for campervan.
Yeah.
They did just Sydney, and then they moved to New Zealand, I think, and after they moved to England, I think. So it's possible.
It's possible, yeah.
But yeah, it's difficult but possible.
Mm.
But also for early stage startup, I think one thing can be so useful is like to join one of the programs. There's so many around now,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
and I think like having some structure, because you can just try to do it yourself, or you can just join one of the program.
Yeah.
And now there's so many programs like from university, or we have, of course, we have the +8 Pre-Accelerator here, but
Mhm.
the university has some,
Yeah.
and there's many. I would say like just join a program so you can have like. It's so easy to just think about like, yeah, one day I will do it, or like just writing it down and thinking you have the best idea. One day I was speaking with someone and she was telling me that like she worked for a few years on an idea and she was starting to build it. And I said, what is it? And she was like, I cannot tell you. I was like, why? She was like, oh, because I don't want to share my idea. I was like, if you don't share your idea, you don't know if it exists, if it's good or bad or anything.
Yeah.
And she told me her idea, and finally I was like, oh, it already exists. I already have an app that to do that. And I was like, she was like, oh, really?
Mm.
She didn't know. She's been building this thing on the side, not telling anyone. So I would say like few things. Like one, tell everyone,
Mhm.
Yeah,
because
for
no
sure.
one is as keen as you
Yeah.
about building that. Like everyone is different and everyone has a different journey. It's not the idea is worth nothing. The
Yeah.
execution is worth everything.
100%.
And
yeah.
so many times people are like,
Yeah.
oh, I don't want to share my idea in case if anyone steals it. And I was like, even
Yeah.
if they steal it,
Yeah.
they will never
Yeah.
being able to deliver it like you. And if they are, maybe you're not the right person to build it.
Yeah.
That's all.
Mhm.
Like, so yeah, find also like the right mentors. Like test the mentors before offering anything. Don't offer equity before like you had a few meetings with them. Like same like mentor agreement. Make sure you have a cliff and like that you don't give them any equity for a while. And so protect yourself
Mhm.
because.
Yeah.
And also make sure that you take care of your mental health, because I
Yeah.
feel like that's a big thing as well for
Yeah.
founders, is like trying to build is hard,
Yeah.
and making
Yeah.
sure that you have a network and making sure you can speak about like, and I think it would be great that more founders share the real story of like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
how
Absolutely.
hard it can be, and
Yeah.
it can be very hard. It can
Yeah.
be like very difficult
Mhm.
mentally for building things, because
Mhm.
you're so attached
Mm.
to your business. It's like a
Mm.
baby, and everyone keep telling you that your baby is ugly, and it's like hard. Like yeah.
That's, completely agree with a lot of what you just said. I guess you mentioned before about wishing that you would have had mentors who might have supported you through some of the financial elements of building the business. What are you bringing to +8 to support the founders of the cohorts?
Yeah, first I bring some amazing mentors that are coming, and I already know them, or most of them I know them, or I interview them and I know why they're coming into the program. I just want to make sure that they just, I think the biggest issue with many of the accelerators is they do partnership with some of the big brands, like for example like lawyers and everything, and they bring people in, but these people have no idea of like what it is to have a small startup. And for example, when they speak about growth and they tell you like, yeah, when you have $1 million budget, like how to work with marketing, yeah, great, but like right now I have like maybe $5 per month.
Yeah.
Like what do I do? Like how to deal with like the very early stage. I think that's very important to like have the right mentors. Have also like we provide the space for free, making sure that like we connect for office hours. We have like 60 people that we can organize free office hours with, that do a big range of skills.
Yep.
And we also organize like a big pitch night where we try to get like as many programs and investors and everything. So, and then we try to see if we can continue following up with them. So we have many of alumni that are still here, and we're still catching up and trying to see like what can we do.
Mm-hmm.
And I think my superpower is like connecting people as like marketplaces. So it's all about like trying to meet people and trying to see like who they should speak to,
Yeah.
who they should meet, and also like I try to be annoying because I think like, but I think we're not like trying to push people to really think about like, is this the right idea, is this the right time, is this, because it can be a great idea, but it may be too early or too late or too something. So, and many people will tell them it's a great idea, but they will never buy it. So I try to be as open and honest about what I think, and I may be completely wrong, and I tell them that's just my idea, my opinion. I say don't take it personally, just speak with more people and see, but make sure that people tell you the truth. Don't just ask mom, dad, and the cousin if it's a good idea, because that can be a big issue.
Yeah. You're pretty adept at juggling, as we were saying, but just on that point, you're building as well as teaching. So how are you sort of balancing those two things? Does one inform the other? How do you manage that?
The good thing is the accelerator was already kind of like, many of the sessions were already organized, like the support team in Perth is incredible, so they do most of the heavy lifting. So when I first ran it, they just asked me to come and run it. I was not working here, and I was just coming to the session with my slides and presenting, and some of the session was presented by, I would bring other mentors, and for me it would just be more like the facilitation of some of the session. So I would say it would be more like a few hours a week at a time. Now I do work full time, plus I have the accelerator on top. It's for me it's also like, I believe that we should change about like our workload. Like I think people should do what they're very good at. And that's what I'm really trying to change here, is like, I'm very good at bringing people to an event, but don't ask me to organize a revenge sheet, because I will forget to even, like, when is the catering arriving, when is this setting up the room, or like, so like what I realize with my team here is like, one person is exactly the opposite of me. She not enjoy like inviting everyone to the event, but she enjoys so much the Excel spreadsheet and everything. So it's like trying to find the right people and trying to understand what they're good at. And I think it's so important when you start a business to see what is everyone very good at and making sure that you push that. Of course, when you're starting a small startup, you may have to do a lot of things that you don't enjoy, and that's okay. But make sure that like the thing that you really enjoy, but like make sure that you are in charge of that. And it doesn't matter if like you do half of marketing and someone is doing half of finance, as long as you're clear of like who is doing what, and that you're very clear of like.
Just before we move off the +8 Pre-Accelerator, have you learned anything working with all of these founders? Like, is there a particular lesson that you've taken from meeting founder after founder and seeing them take ideas into from, I guess, theory to reality?
So I've done 2 full cohorts and starting with the 3rd one now. And what I realized is like, the first day they come and pitch, and I have no idea who will still be alive a year later. Like, who will still try to push, and some of them like just being like, oh, it's amazing, like they're just going to be incredible, and then 6 months later they may disappear, or like some of them be like, oh, I don't know, and so I realized how difficult is it to be able to judge someone, but also for me it's been amazing because I'm bringing some great mentors, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm learning so much, like every time I bring someone in, and it's also interesting because now I feel like I've learned enough that I feel like I can also like be part of a session and be like also being able to add like some examples, or like sometimes someone will share something and I say like, yes, but there's not like one reality, there's like few things that can be possible, because sometimes people will tell you it's black or white. I'm like, no, I know gray. So it's also being open and honest of like what I've lived and how we can help them.
Yeah, cool.
Sounds like a rich experience you're having.
Yes, it's so fun. And for me, like, you know, like they tell you like, do things that like brings you energy. And for example, I'm just to concentrate on all my Excel spreadsheet, I realized that like I started ADHD medication, and it makes me so much better to do all my spreadsheet and everything. But I don't need any medication to do, like, for example, running the program, because I'm already like 150% on. I'm like, interesting. Like, when you think about like, what you want to do next, it's like, I want to do more of the things that like, where I just don't need anything, because that's what I love.
Yeah. Well, maybe still speaking about some of the founders, what are some of the problems that they're solving in the current cohort or in the recent cohort?
In the recent cohorts, we had like every startup is building something so different, so it's been incredible. I would say probably the most successful ones so far, and we will see as we go. But we have someone building something for early childhood educator, a platform to help early childhood educators. So it's been very interesting because I knew nothing about that. So also like that's why you learn what's the issue about this industry. Because many people tell you like, for example, it's not a good idea. I'm like, how do you know? Are you in the industry? Like, have you lived that? And if people already come with like, they've been in the industry, they saw something, they're building on that, you have way more chance to be successful. At the same time, I always build businesses where I had no experience, and I feel like I still I know much more about the industry, but I feel like you have much more chance to succeed when you're coming from the industry. Someone else is in aged care and building something like check-in, check-out for when they come in and seeing the patients, by taking notes and making it simple, because I believe the experience of like how difficult it was to track everything and what he's putting together. Someone else is doing something about sports, and it's very different. It's about like how you can promote, sponsor, and create a community around sports, and I can't tell you too much because it's definitely not my thing, but it's going very well. So we have a wide range of people. In the next recurring course, we have like everything. We have lots of different platforms.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Let's talk about Western Sydney a little bit. So I guess we both live and work in Western Sydney, super diverse area.
Yes.
So I guess a couple of questions. What do you feel that the Western Sydney, I guess, area, but also Western Sydney Startup Hub, what does it have potentially that CBD doesn't? And also, I guess that diversity and richness, is that translating through to innovation?
Yes, definitely. There's good and bad about it, I think, and not bad, but like limited. Like, let me explain. The good, I think, is, for me, I love working here because, of course, I'm from a diverse background, and I really feel like people with diverse background, it's usually way more difficult for them. But also, they usually have way more grit to make things happen, because their life hasn't been easy. Like, they usually here, and they usually try to do lots of things because they just have to pay their bill and live, but they usually have a strong goal. But like making things better for themselves, but also for the community. It's much more about like society, community, helping each other, and I love that because I really believe in that. What I think we're creating here, and what I think is great, is like we're really creating a new tech scene. And I think when I arrived, it was not really like a group of people coming together. I know we created like a Western Sydney Tech Innovators, and I've been at the beginning we wanted to call it like Paramata Connect, because I was like, no, we need to look at like bigger picture. We're like, oh, AI. I was like, no, like we need to include more people. And I'm so glad that he pushed, because I've been more involved in the beginning, not much now, but so now Western Sydney Tech Innovators, and you can find them on
meetup.
Meetup.
Yeah.
Thank
You're
you.
doing well. Over,
Yeah.
I think, 1,000 members.
Over 1,000
Yeah,
members,
yeah.
and that's been only a year.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that I pushed.
Yeah.
I'm part of a committee. It's
Yeah.
like a non-for-profit, and I'm part of like what do you call it? Like
The board.
the board. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
I'm part of the board
Yeah.
because I really believe that we need to create something, and it's not
Mhm.
about like the uni against the space, against like the library, against this.
Mhm.
Like, how can we make sure that we create a community that can come together, learn together,
Yeah.
and they can be based anywhere?
Yeah.
For me, it's like, of course, I prefer them to be here
Yeah.
because I run this space,
Yeah.
but I also want to make sure that like we get them together so they can learn from each other,
Yeah.
and then they can go back wherever they are, and whenever they're ready, they can see what we can provide here, and hopefully they come here. But
Mm.
I also want to make sure that like we can all work together, and I think that's not been done enough.
Yeah.
And same, I feel like we're lacking like more investors and more like big mentors and angels. Like it's not enough. So that's what I'm trying to push. Is like how can we make sure that like we bring enough quality.
Yeah. Just quickly on that point. You mentioned the need to have, I guess, more investors out here and just more attention in general out here. What are some barriers that still exist in the region?
I think someday like I invited some investors for a big event. We did the Innovation Day, Innovation Festival last year, and some people told me like, "Oh no, it's too far," and I was like, "Too far?" Like I was like, "That's not that far," but it's interesting of like how, as well, like some people had never been in Parramatta or been once, like maybe 15 years ago, and they have no idea what Parramatta looks like now. Like sometimes I go to like Parramatta Centre and I'm like, oh my god, like all the restaurants are buzzing and like food is like incredible. Like trying to go like after work, trying to find like an incredible place in the city. It's so hard. Like so many times I was like trying to find like a restaurant to eat, and it was like so hard here. Like everything is open, super late. Like people are like everywhere. Like I love the atmosphere and everything. So I think it's also like Parramatta is really pushing of like how it's like the new CBD and really making a new image for itself, and I think it's really needed. And by bringing more people, like all the we created for the festival last year, we did bring a lot of mentors and investors to come, and some of them were reluctant, some of them said no, but many of them came, and they're like, oh my god, this place is amazing, and like we stopped in Parramatta on the way, like so good, and it's like, please let me know when you're doing something else, like how can we get involved? But also they connected me to more like people from around here, because that was my issue, my network is mostly in the city. They're like, I also want to make sure that like I don't miss some incredible mentors that are already here, because like how can we make sure that like someone here see someone local achieving great things?
For sure.
Because I never wanted to be a pilot, a plane pilot, because I've never seen a woman pilot. Like you will never try to aspire to be something that you've never seen. And recently I've heard that like France has never had a woman president. And I was like, yeah, I never thought about being a president because like, but it's the thing is like, and then when you usually see all the successful founder story, you usually see men. So how can you just speak about like as a woman? Like yeah, I will do that because so that's why we really try to be like. We like trying to be like kids friendly, baby friendly, dog friendly, like really like everyone, and just make sure like we really try to push like every type of founders and trying to get more mentors, but also can be the inspiration for other for the next generation of founders.
Yeah, so good, so good.
That pulling people together in that community, everything that we've spoken about, you can see the common thread.
Yes.
It's really nice to see.
So it's all like, you know, but like if you look at the Blue Zone Netflix series, they say that like community is the number one for the reason of why you live longer.
Yeah.
So
having people
everyone
around.
should like create a community to live
Absolutely.
longer as well.
Yeah.
So another big question.
Voilà.
What is the uncomfortable truth about Australian startups that everyone thinks but nobody says out loud?
Ooh. Probably that the VC world is very, very small and they're all connected. And that if you're part of like a good group, great, well done, and it's easier to get investment. If like kind of like one of them has doubt about you or your business, they're very good at like also like convincing everyone else that like maybe it's the right business or something. So I think it's it looks big from the maybe sometimes from the outside, but I think like the variety of funding is quite scarce compared to other countries. I think when you look at funding in Europe or funding in America, there's much more funds and they're not as connected to each other. They don't do all the things together. So I think you have much more chance of like getting more funding.
Do you think if a founder is struggling to raise funds in Australia, it's an opportunity to look overseas?
I used to believe that, but then when I went to the US and spoke with many investors wanted to see proof that it could work in the US. And then I was not able to launch in the US because it was costing too much to launch in the US, and I couldn't raise the money to launch in the US. So I wish I could say yes, but also depending on what kind of business you're building. Because if it's all online, it's fine. Because if you get your customer from anywhere, it's okay. For me, it was all using spaces that are like real spaces where people go inside. So when I own these places, it was all these spaces here in Australia. So and also when you're trying to pitch an Australian startup with a French accent in America, they just get very confused. Like, why are you here? So also depending on your background, and I think like there's many community here that have like very strong accent from their background, and it can be also way more difficult. So I think also depending on what you look like and how you sound like. I think, for example, for the two of you, it should be way easier to raise funds than many others. And it doesn't mean that like you will raise funds, but you already tick many boxes, but like it should be easier.
Yeah.
I think we've pushed you through the ringer, Caroline, but I've got one question. Maybe you've got another one as well, Christian. But okay, let's look ahead to 2030.
Okay.
Back on Western Sydney.
Yeah.
In the next 5 years, what would you like to see happen to really, like if you had full control, what would you like to see change to, I guess, elevate the region?
I like that you give me full control.
Yeah, full control.
Kill. For me, I feel like way more innovation coming from here, and also like way more transparency and connection and like for example right now we have like very big for example all the medical is around here and there's much more funds about medical, and having a medical startup around here could be way better. It's like how can we make sure like we have more of everything around here, and how can we work way better between all the different players, between the council, between the university, between the co-working space. Like the aim is like not to compete, but like how to. So my aim would be like for 2030 to have like space full of ideas, like having like so many people interested that we could be running programs all the time, like that it would not just be about numbers of women funders or not, but like being able to make sure that everyone gets a chance. And I think with AI coming up, we need to make sure that everyone is taken by this wave of AI, and I think we can create, like, I think Parramatta is growing so quickly, and the Western Sydney is growing so quickly. It's more about like, how can we make sure that we connect the right people together? How can we think about the infrastructure now, but like then will work then?
Yeah.
I know that like in the city now is closed, like Sydney Startup Hub and all the building and everything. but I think it was like a great idea of like having so many startups on the same building. I think I hope that we'll have way more startups connected and also like stop having like people taking decisions that have no idea what they're doing. Like I feel like so many times like they ask questions to like how we should run this next sprint, give them all the answers, and then what they did is like they decided to go with like whatever they presented because that's what they were thinking about, and they didn't even listen. You know, like I just feel like so many times like there's a big gap between who's taking the decision and what they're taking the decision for. We should get more like connected, like people that take the decision should be coming from a place where if you're taking a decision about startups, like you should be having built startups before to be able to take a decision on policy about startups, and not a policy maker that have only been in his office and that is thinking about what would be best when they have no idea. So, and it's great that they be like firm asking you a question, but then if they don't implement it, so it's like really about like how we connect everyone and how can we make sure that decisions are taken. Probably not just for like 1 year or 2 years, but like a long-term plan, not just like
for sure.
what's going to change in politics and then everything is changing again.
One last question. You once said success for me is doing what I love. Right now, running the Pre-Accelerator, building Skoutli, or potentially selling Skoutli, and running the Western Sydney Startup Hub. What do you love most about it all?
As you know, it's community. Community building, connecting people, creating win-win for everyone, like in anything. Like it can be Skoutli, we're creating win-win. It can be the community, created win-win. We're bringing mentors, and we're hoping that the mentors get as much out of like the session as like when they're coming into the room, like we have like such a diverse type of founders, and it's like how can we make sure that like everyone wins? I think that's what brings me joy and energy. Is like at the end of the day, if I see like someone came about the last cohort, and she told me, oh my God, like it's been such a year, because she said that like before she was like completely socially isolated, and she was not even, it was hard for her to even get out of her house. And now she's like confident, she gets like lots of new clients, like now she's just too busy and she has to focus on like, okay, what's next, because she's getting so much promotion and she's just been onto like the news and everything.
That's
and I'm like,
amazing.
For me, I really feel like yes, like that's been a collective, but I feel like for me it's my job done. Like when I just hear that, and I didn't tell her yesterday, but I was like, oh my God. And same like last week we did the first session, and our alumni came on stage and shared their progress, and I was like, I feel like a mom having all these kids, and I'm like, I'm so proud. I was like, and I told them at the end, I was like, I'm so proud of all of you, like, and there's nothing better than just them seeing them like struggling, but then like going to where they want to do and building what they want to build, and it just feels incredible.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us on this podcast. It's been amazing to learn about your journey.
Thank you.
And it's been amazing to learn about what drives you as well. Yeah.
Thank you so much, and good luck with your podcast.
Thanks. You're our inaugural guest, so thanks so much for joining us, and on your beautiful property as well. Love it.
Anyone can come and try the space.
So on that point, how can people connect with both the +8 Pre-Accelerator and also Western Sydney Startup Hub?
So everything, like if I just go on Google and look for Western Sydney Startup Hub, there's all the links there, and when they go on our platform, they can see the space, but also the program. It's just called +8 Pre-Accelerator Sydney, so they can find it, and also like happy to connect anyone with anything. They can always, the best way to contact me as well is just on LinkedIn. I love LinkedIn.
Nice.
It's a great platform.
Thank you. Well, thanks for everyone watching, and we'll join you next time on the Debrief.
Thanks, Caroline.